The best thing about my local library is also the worst thing. It's very quick at getting in my reservations, which means that I have to collect them all in a very short space of time. So we'll start with the one about which I'm most excited, then I'll do the rest in no order. Heartless by Marissa Meyer. I have been screaming at basically every booktuber on here, telling them how jealous I am of the fact that they have read Heartless and I hadn't got my hands on a copy yet. Finally, the library got a copy in. I've started reading it, not too far through it yet, but I'm really thoroughly enjoying it, and considering I kind of hated Scarlet and couldn't get with the writing style, I'm just so relieved that I actually do enjoy this so far. By the way, it's about the Red Queen, the Queen of Hearts, in case you didn't know that, and I love the Red Queen. Then we have The Wonder by Emma Donoghue. I first heard about this on a few different booktubers channels. It's about this little girl who apparently has eaten nothing for months but is still really healthy, and it sounds quite bizarre and it looks visually beautiful. I don't really know much else about it, so it's going to be quite an intriguing read for me. Stuart MacBride's called Granite, the first in the Logan McRae series. You may be wondering why I am reading this. I have already read this. I never reread books. I said this a lot, but there's something about Stuart MacBride. I love him. I love him so much, and it's got nothing to do with the fact that it's set in Aberdeen. I just love it thoroughly, and I haven't read this one in about 4 or 5 years since I first started reading MacBride's work. So I really want to read it again and start his series all over, and thankfully I have a really rubbish memory, so I can't remember what it's about or how it concludes, which is obviously kind of crucial for crime novels. Really looking forward to rereading it. Jojo Moyes, The Last Letter from Your Lover. I'm reading this more out of curiosity rather than interest, because I keep hearing so many good things about Jojo Moyes' writing, but I don't really fancy any of the ones that are currently being turned into films, the name of which I can't remember. But this one sounded pretty interesting. Me Before You, it's right there on a sticker. I don't pay attention to anything. But I don't know, I just thought, yeah, this one sounded a bit more interesting than some of the others, so I will give it a go. We'll see what it's like. Then we have Virginia Woolf. I have a picture of Virginia Woolf up there. You may know I am obsessed with this woman. This one is The Voyage Out, which of course I haven't read yet, and believe it or not, I actually don't like her writing style that much when it comes to prose fiction. I prefer her letters and her diary entries and things. But I loved Orlando, so I've got reasonable hopes for this, and I hope I enjoy it. Sarah Waters' The Night Watch. Having adored Tipping the Velvet, I'm very excited to read a second of her novels, and then after this I think I'll read Fingersmith because I have the DVD but would like to read it first. I don't know anything about this at all. I assume it's got a kind of lesbian vibe to it like the first one did, but yeah, I'm looking forward to this one a lot. On a similar Virginia Woolf note, this is Mad, Bad and Sad, a history of women in the mind doctors from 1800 to the present, and it's all about mental health in women and the treatment and what they were subjected to, dealing with people like Virginia Woolf and Sylvia Plath, and basically all of these women with poor mental health who I absolutely love. I'm so drawn to these characters throughout history, so I don't know what the writing style is like or how the structure is, but in terms of a concept, I think it's going to be great. Probably my favourite deceased novelist is Daphne Du Maurier, and I'm running out of her novels. I've read over half of them, I think, but this one is My Cousin Rachel, which I actually really struggled to find a copy of when I lived up in the northeast, so living here and being able to have access to it is brilliant. Yeah, I love Du Maurier, love her a lot. Penultimate is Capturing Jack the Ripper. I've always been really fascinated by Jack the Ripper, but now that I live in London and have it all, like, and Whitechapel's basically on my doorstep, it makes it so much more fascinating because I can go and see within a heartbeat the things that I'm reading about, so I'm very much looking forward to it. And I'm one of those people who kind of thinks, I'm going to read this and crack the case. I really wish they knew who he was. It drives me crazy having unsolved cases. And lastly, jumping from Jack the Ripper to Adolf Hitler, I've always wanted to read Mein Kampf. I studied the Second World War on about 4 different occasions throughout my school life. I studied German as a language for 6-7 years, so I've always kind of been thinking about Hitler, and that's, you know, not in that weird way, but just always been fascinated by the subject, and I'd like to read this. I mean, it's a hefty book, so I won't be reading it in one sitting, but I just think it's one of those books that, given the things that I've studied throughout my life, I really should read it. Kind of hoping the library doesn't get any of my reservations in anytime soon, because I need to get through some of those first. I was going to get out a Goosebumps book, realised I'd maxed out my cards, so that's very unfortunate. Very excited about those though. Some of those have been sitting on my reservation list for quite a while, so I'm very excited. If you have read any of those, do feel free to let me know your spoiler-free thoughts, and I'll always welcome suggestions for other books. That's it for just now, so I'll speak to you all soon. Bye.